Hello, I'm Donald Leggett, and welcome to the latest London South East CEO interview. I'm joined today by Paul Johnson, CEO at Power Metal Resources. POW are an AIM-listed metals exploration and development company with early-stage assets around the globe. Greetings, Paul, and welcome to London South East today.
Hello, Donald. Thank you for having me on.
It is a pleasure, Paul. And where are you coming to us from today?
Well, I'm in sunny Farnborough today, Donald. Just by the airport, hence the pictures of aeroplanes in the background.
Very good. And let's start by asking you to summarize the year just gone. Have the positives outweighed the negatives for Power Metals?
Oh, wow. Well, you don't get asked about negatives too many times on these interviews. So it's a good point. Running a junior resource company is always challenging, and the conditions of the last year have been incredible, really, haven't they? You know, back in March with the lockdowns, collapsing markets, concerns about presidential elections, all sorts of different things. And these juniors have really had to fight through the financial challenges of running a business and the operational challenges of having restricted activities and so on. I think many of them have done very well. I think Power has done exceptionally well, but I would say that because I'm the CEO, so I'm definitely biased.
How would you describe the Power Metals business to the uninitiated? Give us a short overview, and then we'll talk in more detail about some of your assets, not all of them, because you simply have so many.
Okay, no problem. Well, every single bit of what we do is focused on one primary thing, which is that our shareholders, the investors that put money into our company, deserve our absolute focus and attention. We are here to make people money. Now, to make that an easy job for us, we've aligned ourselves because the board of Power Metals owns 14% of the company's stock, and I personally have half of that, about 7% of the company's stock. We have driven this business model to make large-scale metal discoveries. So we have interesting projects that are not small. We're not fiddling around for a little bit of gold or fiddling around for a little base metal discovery. We're going after big targets, and we're going after it with proper disciplined work programs. And you can see that, and we'll talk about this very shortly with Molopo Farms complex in Botswana, where we're doing a 2,500 meter drill program for very large scale, multiple nickel sulfide PGM targets. So our aim as a business is to find one or more large scale metal discoveries that can transform the lives of our shareholders. And that's good because we're significant shareholders in the business.
Now, across those 9 early stage projects, do you see yourself, well, you're explorers at the moment, but do you see yourself as developers? Would you take the project to mine ready? At what point do you say, okay, this has been a great success, but I want my exit now. Thank you very much.
I suppose you're asking me, do I want to be a jack of all trades and master of none? I mean, there are different disciplines in building a corporate business, building an exploration business, finding something and taking a project through development, and then running a mine. Now, the simple answer is at this point in time, we are an exploration and corporate business. We do those things well, we believe. And I think we're going to find something very substantial, but I'm an optimist and biased, as I say. But if you do find something substantial, then perhaps you might need a partner to take it forward, depending on where it is and what it is. Perhaps the best thing to do is to bring in the team of people who can build a mine and run a mine. Perhaps it's not. And you bring somebody else in to do that job for you. I think we just have to recognize all the way through this process that we're good at certain things, not good at others. If we can bring in the skills, we can do other things. If we can't bring in the skills, we have to hand on to somebody else through a disposal or work with somebody else through an earning or joint venture arrangement.
And if you were going to bring in skills, would that be, formulated as a farm-in, perhaps?
Yeah, I think for junior companies, the best route is to bring in farming partners. If you have very large scale tier 1 discoveries, then you bring in major partners. And it's important to build the connections and the contacts to enable you to do that and to do the right transactional stuff. One of the biggest issues with the major partners over the years, I think, has been that you have this major opportunity. You found a big discovery. You want to take it forward. You bring in a partner. You're very enthused. And that partner's so big, your project isn't that material. Now, if you get it right and you look at Greatland Gold with Newcrest, they, from the off, have gone straight into aggressive drilling and building the Havieron project, the gold project in Australia. That's what a partner needs to do, a large partner with a junior alongside.
But they were very, very, very lucky in every aspect, because it so happened that Newcrest had a mill which had capacity and was running out of feedstock. So, hey, perfect.
You've got to pick your partners, haven't you? What is it this Gary Player said about luck? The harder I practice, the luckier I get. I think you've got to you have to build these companies, these juniors, in readiness for a discovery. If you're there like a rabbit in the headlights when you find something and you haven't planned out what you will do when you do find that discovery, you're in trouble. We're planning every single day of the week in our business for what we're going to do as our business swells and expands on the back of a discovery, because we need to be ready. We've got big projects and big opportunities. We have to assume, however brave it may be, that we will find something substantial. So that's what we're doing.
Perfect. Which takes us very neatly to the Molopo Farms project. You nodded to it previously. It's nickel sulphide. And you said before we started the interview, you said, you're not drill ready, you're actually drilling. So tell us all.
Yeah, well, we've announced to market that the drill is proceeding really well. It's a deep target. The top of the conductor is 500 meters down. And the last announcement to market was 280 or so meters. And the geology that we're finding on the way down is in line with expectations, which is increasing our confidence. So it's all going really well. Now, this is kind of the new bold exploration frontier. These type of major targets are developed from helicopter airborne electromagnetic work, find some big targets. We found 17, I think, in this project license area. And then you go down to the ground with ground geophysics and you narrow down those targets, because you're closer, you're using slightly different methods. And we found 5, 6 really big targets to go for, narrowed down to 4. We then ran some aeromagnetotelluric surveys over to ratify the targets, which we did. And we're down to 4 drill targets, 4 holes, 2,500 meters. If we're fortunate and we find nickel sulfide PGMs down there, we have major discovery on our hands, and it's district scale. So not just 1, 2 or 3 targets, we have potentially 14 and maybe more as we do more work in the area. So it's very exciting for us. It's a huge project, way in excess of what a tiddler junior could expect to have exposure to. But that's the beauty of difficult markets, as we've experienced. You can actually get into projects that ordinarily you wouldn't have any right to be involved with. And that's where we are with Botswana. Explain
to us exactly how it works, because it's a very good example of how you like to work in terms of ownership and how the funding's being operated and so on. You explain.
Okay, so the way I've always liked to do it with these larger projects is to take a stake in the holding company that has the project 100%, which is what we've done with Kalahari Key Mineral Exploration, where we have an 18% stake approximately. And then also do a deal to enter into the project itself. And in this case, with Molopo Farms, we're spending $500,000 on this exploration program in 2020. Once we've spent that money, we will earn a 40% direct project stake. Now, taken together, that's an effective interest of 51% once we've done the earning. That gives us a degree of protection, because anything happening corporately with Kalahari Key, we have that shareholding. So let's say we find something substantial and Kalahari Key sells the company to some other organization. Well, we have 18% of it, so we get that big windfall that in theory can help us to stand our ground against future exploration on the project, which we have 40% of. So it's a combination of the corporate angle with very large scale exploration opportunities. And we've always, since we started, liked to do fair, reasonable deals with our partners. It's just that when the market's buzzy and people can get money from anywhere, then they won't necessarily go to a small company like Power to do a deal. They'll go to somebody else because they can get the money easily. When you can't get the money easily, that's when the opportunities emerge. So we don't see these difficult phases in the markets as a major problem. We see them as an opportunity to think straight away about what other deals could we do. And we've built over the last 2 years a portfolio of 9 projects. We had 2 of those projects originally back in February 19 when we restructured and refinanced, but we built another 7 on top. And I think all of them are capable of large scale discoveries. Otherwise, we wouldn't be involved with them.
But it's best, presumably, not to back just one horse, not to have all your eggs in one basket. you're confident that something will come good across your 9 projects?
Okay, I think what I've done, Donald, is that I'm a bit tired of supporting other AIM companies time and again. Sometimes it's worth it, sometimes it's not. I've kind of put 5 AIM companies in one wrapper, if you look at the number of projects and the type and style of things we're going for. Precious metals in North America and also Australia, base metals in Africa, lots of different jurisdictions, lots of different types of geology. It's 5 companies in one. The advantage is I feel more confident because I'm running the overall holding company, as it were, Power Metal Resources, with all these operations. And I can control the financial management of the business, the operational management, the strategic management, the marketing and communications. I'm more confident in myself than I am in other people. And that's just a simple fact of life. I think most of us are like that. I know where I'm going, what I want. When our shareholders at the end of this process, if they can hang on, and if we're successful, and there's risk in this business, we might not be, but if we're successful, I want them to make transforming money for their lives. That's what this game's about. It's not 20% a year.
How long might those shareholders have to hang on for in Molopo Farms, where you're all going gangbusters, you're doing all your drills? How long? 1 year? 2 years?
Oh.
How long will it take before you actually discover your nickel sulfide and then start to commercialize?
Okay, well, if the drill program goes according to plan and we get the data out from that drill program, the news could come in theory at any time. We made a policy of trying to update the market as frequently as we can. Now, we have a bit of an issue because there are commercial sensitivity areas in a drill program. We may, be in a position where we find something that, because of the nature of the discovery, we have to announce ASAP. We may wait until the assays come back because certain of the minerals, metals that we're looking for will not necessarily be visible in core. So we'll have to make judgment calls as we go along, but I'm a hugely impatient person. I want power at 20p tomorrow. Then, next week. I don't want to wait for a year or 2 years or 3 years, because I know that when we get power up to significantly higher market valuation levels, we can do dramatically more and we can build it even further. So as fast as we can get the good news out, we will get it out to market.
Why do you believe in nickel sulfide?
I just think if you look at the forward dynamic of the requirement for quality nickel, even you've got Elon Musk talking about it now and looking for new supply sources. I think you've got a tremendous amount of demand going forward. Supply is not phenomenal. There's been supply attrition across the metals for years now. They've not been building the pipeline of new opportunities. If judging by what we see in our business and in our partners' businesses, there is significant interest amongst tier 1 and quality mid-tier companies looking for major nickel sulfide opportunities. We in our business have got a number of them. And so if we start to get a sniff of some good geology down in the target zones, we will be in the firing line for a lot of interest from a lot of large organizations. We know some of them, and there'll be others that we don't even know about yet. They'll be looking at us and what we're doing.
If I understand correctly, Haneti in Tanzania is also nickel sulfide and it is drill ready. Is that right?
Yeah, last announcement was a pre-mobilization announcement. This is a huge target in Tanzania. It's been worked on for many, many years. I've been following this story for years, always wanted to have an involvement in it. And now we do, because we have an interest of 35% in the project. And we also hold the about 3% of Katoro Gold, which is the overall holding company for Haneti. They have the other 65%. An 80-kilometre long ultramafic complex, some significant nickel sulfide PGM targets. The project as a whole is polymetallic, so it has gold, lithium, copper, all sorts of different things within it. But we're focused initially on these very large-scale nickel sulfide PGM targets. So, yeah, I mean, obviously we have to wait for the announcement on the drilling and what's happening there, but we're pushing on all sides to get that going as quickly as we can. And then we could have a second major nickel sulfide program running.
Who's funding the drill in Haneti in Tanzania?
Well, we're on a 35% power, 65% Katoro split. So that's how it works. We effectively pay, in order to keep our 35%, we have to fund 35% of ongoing operational cost. Now, the costs of all these programs are not, ridiculous, and they're all manageable by the companies. Otherwise, we wouldn't have announced an intention to go ahead and do this. It's important to mention for power, this $500,000 in Botswana and the money that we would spend in Tanzania is coming from our existing cash resources. We announced last week that our working capital was £1.7 million. Obviously, we've spent money towards the Botswana program already, so we don't have $500,000 left to fund. We've already spent a significant amount, and yet still we have a large working capital position. So we're well funded for everything we need to do in 2020 and beyond.
Okay, which takes us also very neatly to Victoria. You've been talking about a TSX, a potential TSX Canadian listing for your gold assets in Victoria, Australia. Now,
yeah.
Is that going to happen, do you think? And how do you compensate POW shareholders if it does? And why Victoria being listed? Why not any of your other assets?
Okay, well, if it wasn't going to happen, we wouldn't state our intent to make it happen. And we're quite serious about this. We've been doing tons of work. We prepared project reports across all of the 12 projects. We've got a 43-101 complete now for 7 of the projects. We're setting ourselves up for the listing in North America with all the relevant technical information. We have the advisor base in place that we're plugging, any remaining gaps in that so that we're ready to move forward. We're waiting for the first license grants, which is a very significant event for us out of the 12 license applications. And we're pretty full on with this. So there is a significant amount of incoming interest with regard to Victoria from North America, from Australia, from Europe. We're seeing lots of different parties getting in touch with us in different ways with regard to the entirety or specific licenses. I've never seen anything as hot as this. I mean, it is the hottest postcode in the world for gold exploration at the moment. Wow.
That was Paul Johnson, CEO at Power Metal Resources. Thank you so much for joining us today. That was really interesting. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Donald.
It really was a pleasure.
Thank you.
For more interviews like this one, please subscribe to the London Southeast YouTube channel. Thank you for watching, and do stay safe.